I said a few days ago that I will be speaking to citizens of all the states, the 13 states of Ambazonia, about the importance of the liberation tax. This is one of the first projects that I have launched on the ground in terms of resource mobilization. And in the past few weeks, we have taken the pains to explain the benefits of this new policy. Before I get into it, I also want to send special greetings to our forces in Mundemba for the great action that they carried against the brutal occupiers of our country. The Ambazonian people are grateful for the sacrifices that all of our forces are making. I send my greetings to our prisoners of war, all the brave men and women who have been taken into captivity by Cameroon and whose conditions of detention are alarming, inhumane, degrading, psychological torture, and even murder in jail. We remember your sacrifices, and we will do so forever. Ambazonians in the next 100 years will read about the sacrifices you have made and continue to make. My fellow Ambazonians, we are at war. We are at war. War is not explained. It is felt in terms of the pain it brings to a people. It is also felt in terms of the opportunity it creates to the future generation. We have been at war for 62 years with Cameroon, backed by an international conspiracy to rewrite our history and to eliminate us as a people. So today, I want to speak to the people of Mesam, why it is important that each and every one of them, whether you are at home or in the diaspora, to pay the liberation tax. This war is not going to be wished away. Propaganda will not end it. Denying it will not stop it either. Praying that it ends will not bring it to an end. The only way this war is going to come to an end is when Cameroon decides that its illegal presence in Ambazonia has come to an end, and like the Americans decided in Vietnam, they decided in Iraq, they decided in Afghanistan, withdraw their forces from Ambazonia, allow the Ambazonian people to take ownership of their country, establish a government for the Ambazonian people, by the Ambazonian people, a government that will serve the interests of our people and everyone else that lives within our territory and any other area subject to the jurisdiction of Ambazonia. The second way this war is going to come to an end is that our forces exact defeat on Cameroon in the battlefield and expel it from our land and establish a system that serves our people. We have been at war for 62 years. A war for our very own survival. And the people of Mesam have paid a very heavy price. At each phase of this war, whether it is the battle for democracy, the battle for the freedom of press, the battle for education, or is the battle for territorial control, the battle for free and fair elections, ghost towns, civil disobedience, lockdowns, boycotts, defense of leadership, hoisting the flags, drumming, whatever action that has been necessitated during each battle, the people of Mesam have paid a very heavy price because of their warrior status and because they have decided that resistance is the only way that any people can gain something. In the past 30 years, the people of Mesam have always answered present when they are called to action. Whether it was under John Frundi, we were there. We mounted barricades, we dug trenches, we poured engine oil on highways. We did everything to protect Mr. John Frundi from being kidnapped and shipped to Yaoundé. When it came the turn of the SCNC, the great state of Mesam after Fako hosted AAC2. During that period, we experienced all forms of battery from water cannons, assault, killings, torture, kidnapping, harassment. We stood our grounds and established for ourselves then and for posterity the Bamenda Proclamation that laid a political pathway for the freedom of Ambazonia. The people of Mesam have answered present when it has mattered. In the past 70 years, most of the toughest battles have been fought in the great state of Mesam. Some of the strongest defense groups, the EDF, the Boys of Nchomba, the Buffaloes of Bali, the Seven Katas, the Tabokwik Funds. These are the men and women that have taught La République du Cameroon in the most populated city of the state of Mesam, that Ambazonia belongs to us. These are the men who have also sacrificed a lot. Some of our great fighters, General Bobe, Anage, Gires, all of them, Iswil, they lost their lives on the streets of Bamenda in the defense of an ideal whose time has come, that of freedom for the Ambazonian people. I come to Mesam today not only as a son of Mesam, but also as someone who has fought on most of the streets in the state of Mesam. I come to Mesam today because I believe very strongly that our freedom will come from Mesam. In Bamenda alone, there are almost 580,000 people. And if half of this population commit to the liberation tax, it is going to solve a lot of things. I know you're listening to me and wondering what it is going to solve. I know you are concerned about extortions, kidnapping for ransom, roadblocks, burning of homes by the enemy forces, Calais, rape by Cameroon's thugs, general insecurity, uncertainty in terms of the future of your children and their education. You are also concerned about the state of the general infrastructure of Mesam, the roads, pollution, in terms of the trash. Hospitals have become places where people go to die. And you're wondering how Ambazonia will make a difference. We have stated severally that we are not only fighting to secure our homeland. The real reason why our people are fighting is to make sure we can establish conditions of life that bestows dignity to our people, that gives them hope, that rewards hard work, that ensures that any government established over the state of Mesam is going to care about the general state of the roads, ensure that hospitals are clean, that people have access to doctors, midwives, nurses, and are empowered through their own means or through the support of the state to acquire medications when they are sick. This is the future we are trying to secure. We also want to transform Ambazonia and every state. Make it modern. Make it likable. Make you to be proud to say, I come from Alatini. I come from Alabukam. I come from Tuobo. I come from Chomba. Your culture is not only wearing the traditional regalia, eating achu, dancing bagalum, or bottle dance. To secure your culture, you need to secure the land. If you do not have a land, it's just a matter of time before your culture is wasted. The enemy who takes over the land will impose new values, will change your language, will change the food you eat, will change the events you celebrate, will alter your way of thinking, will change your personality. Land is important for the survival of any culture and any people. If you look inside Mesam, take Bamenda for example. Cameroon, empowered by the DUs and the SDUs, is altering the demography of Bamenda. There are parts where Cameroonians have taken over. Whenever you will organize an election, they will vote for people that will represent their interests and their culture in your own land. They will pass laws that will determine whether you can own a land or you cannot own a land. They would secure business opportunities that favors them. Those who will make investment will make investment simply to secure profit. If we do not speed up our effort to secure our land, our own very survival, the survival of our different cultures, our fondoms, will become history. It's a matter of time. You have seen, in the shortest time possible, fonds have become politicians. Fonds who are supposed to be the custodians of our tradition, our way of life, non-partisan, and protect every citizen, irrespective of your political persuasion. They have become supporters of political parties. They represent the interests of a foreign government in exchange for the security of their position, for money. We have seen the great traditions of certain fondoms desecrated, with funds extending their hands to strangers. Our way of life, our culture is not only under attack, it is on the verge of collapse. A people without a culture are a people without a soul, and a people without a soul are living carcasses. My fellow people of Mesam, you may be living in the moment. You may get up in the morning, you go to the fields, you plow the fields, you plant your maize, you harvest your vegetable, you go to the market, you exchange it, you buy other issues like rice, gari, plantains, and you think that's your existence, that's simply your life. To secure the lives and the existence of your children, you must be concerned about the security of the culture that is a reflection of our own way of life. And for us to secure that culture, we must protect the land. We have seen the enemy, when attacked, they take revenge in burning homes. There is a reason. They want to deprive you of shelter. We have seen the enemy kidnap our men and women, transfer them into jails in its own country. You think it's only a security matter. No. It's re-education. The jails in La République are populated by citizens of Cameroon. 90% or 95% of the inmates are from Cameroon. The language of expression in those jails is French. The way of life in those jails is Cameroon. The patterns in those jails is developed according to the way Cameroonians live their lives. And I can assure you 100%, for the prisoners that survive Cameroon's jails, when they ever return into Ambazonia, they think and act almost like Cameroonians. La République has a strategic plan, and that plan has been put in place since 1962. La République understands, to secure our way of life, you need to have an economic system that is built depending on our local realities, our way of farming, our way of trading, our monetary system, to ensure that we do not have access to credit, our citizens are not empowered to pay value-added tax that can be used to develop our communities. La République dismantled our economic systems and caused a human population movement into their own territory. You walk there, you pay taxes there, you buy food there, you buy beer there, you buy everything there. You increase the capital opportunities. You bank there. You create access to credit for future entrepreneurs who are mostly Cameroonians. Access to credit, access to opportunities for Ambazonians dismantled. La République also understood from the beginning, a healthy population is a productive population. It dismantled our health infrastructure. Those that existed or survived were abandoned. They became dilapidated structures where diseases thrive. Women giving birth die every day because of infections. Those who are wounded, bitten by snakes, insects, have no opportunities. La République also knew the people who are not empowered, the people who don't have access to opportunities, cannot fight back. The next thing he did was to dismantle the political institutions. Political institutions are the institutions that make the laws in terms of the parliament, executive structures that enforces the laws, a judicial system that interprets the laws. Laws within the land are built through customary practices. The practices we have in the Mankonfondom, in the Nkwen, the Chomba, all of these places, they form the basis of the kinds of laws that are then created to regulate society. Some are unwritten. They are just customary practices that live through time and space. La République dismantled those political institutions. It took away the cover that we needed to hope, to dream. The political visionaries that can emanate from those institutions to develop policies and practices that will help our people. The greatest tools of development in every society are the ideas of the visionaries, the entrepreneurs, those who dare to invent, to think, to create. With no economic infrastructures, no access to credit, no good laws, no good health system, we were left to think our educational system will produce assets, people who can become the future engineers, people who can become the future thinkers of our society, the philosophers. No, they dismantle our institutions of education. Those which were not dismantled were corrupted. They built 4 walls called classrooms and forced our parents to take ownership through PTAs. That is how Cameroon brought us on our knees. And because we could still stumble and move forward, we thought we were walking. They corrupted all those who could stand for us. They bribed all those who could resist for us. They murdered all those who refused to yield or bend. They kidnapped and rendition those who fought back. They dropped grenades on those who threw stones. They raped all those with dignity, infected those with HIV, and made sure that the demographic shift, if not completed through massive movement of population, is completed through deliberate acts of killing. And we thought we were living. Those who had the means, they shipped their kids abroad, who never returned. Their only happiness was that they had lost their children to foreign flights, kids they will never see. They never hug. The interaction between parents, siblings, and others far away abroad was money, regulated by the same enemy. Those in the diaspora flew in time and again for a few months. They spent lavishly. They had a few months of fun and returned back to their den, where the suffering and toiling continue. That is how they brought us on our knees. And for those who stood up to fight back, our own population even sometimes complain that you're doing it too much. Just make some compromises. Just keep begging. The enemy has taken our entreaties for a weakness. When we begged, they return fire. When we appeal, they send helicopter gunships. When we march with olive branches, AK-47 bullets were flying over our heads like njam. They knew we didn't have guts. They knew we did not have patience. They knew we lived for nothing because our own value system had been dismantled. They knew we were only surviving. They knew they had taken away our nationalism. They've made you to think being from Alabukam was a disgrace. Coming from Chomba was a disgrace. Having your name as Che was an abuse. To be called Lumobi was an attack. You denied your own self so you could look like the enemy. You integrated even without being invited. That's how shallow we went down. We lived for nothing. We had no conviction, no determination. We could not stand even for our friends. Ambazonians are the people who can die for their friends. They can't stand for their neighbors. An Ambazonian will give away his friends for little opportunities, will give away his name for anything, will give away his origin for anything. That's how cheap we became, just because we wanted to integrate and survive. That's how they turned warriors into beggars, Olympians into crawlers. People of Mesam, you have shown the world what it means to resist. From Toronto to London, to Washington, to Paris, to Enugu, Soweto, an unknown 8 million strong army has made its presence known. We insisted to be called Ambazonians. We insisted to sing an anthem. We insisted to fly a flag. In Oslo, they know where Alabukam is. People are proud now to say they come from Kwakwa. People are proud to say they come from Kogwe. Those traitors whose existence depends on your suffering are the sole enemies now we face. Cameroon is vanquished. Cameroon is defeated. I can attest to this as a matter of fact. Any country that claims to have ownership or control over the territory of other people should have the powers to organize elections, should have the powers to determine how things work, should not deploy the army in the middle of the city, should deploy the police, should have DOs, SDOs, mayors living in their homes, should have funds and chiefs it has bribed to stay in and show us that they are in charge. You know a country has lost control when it thinks it can use propaganda, when it thinks it can rally a few people to clear the bushes around schools it claimed it had control over. When it plows our street with armor cars, helicopter gunships, you know you are in charge when the enemy lives in fear, in armor cars. We have setbacks all the time. It's the nature of life. Even in your own family, your salary is never the same. Prices of fuel go up. Your income doesn't go up. You have setbacks. You lose the loved ones. You lose a child. You fail on exams. You get sacked from your job. These are the normal things that happen to every people in life. For us Ambazonians, we have our setbacks. We gain territory, we lose territory. We lose fighters, we lose commanders. That's how wars are fought and won. And victory belongs to those who never give up. And I am proud to come from Mesam. And you can be sure that the spirit of the warriors of Mesam flows in my blood. My people, I know things are hard. I know sometimes you have questions and you want answers. I cannot promise you that heaven is next door. I cannot promise you that salvation is next door. But what I can tell you with certainty is that salvation is coming. Independence, within which you will have free medical care. It means if you are sick, you walk into a clean hospital, you are checked, prescribed medication, you walk into a pharmacy, pick the medication free of charge. It means you take your child to school. The classroom is small, has seats. All the books that the child needs is in the classroom, offered by the school, free of charge. And as if that was not enough, there is a well-equipped library for the child to acquire knowledge. And the next door to the library is a computer center where they can study online in what the Ambazonian Education Board has put in place as the e-learning. That child can finish education, living in Tarinkon, finds a job in London, sits at home and work and earn a salary, hug you in the morning, say thank you mom, thank you dad, visits the friends in the next street, goes to the club, visits the market, live a life where they were born. And if they want to move, they move by choice. That's what we will offer. For us to get there, I need 100,000 people in Mesam to pay their liberation tax on the ground. It will secure us 1 billion if 100,000 men pay their liberation tax. 70% of this money will go to equip our forces, increase their numbers, so they can play both defense and policing duties to ensure there is no kidnapping for ransom, there are no illegal checkpoints for extortion, there is no harassment, pickpocketing, there is no torture of our people. A well-oiled army that can defend the territory, protect the people. 30% in this period of war will be invested in education and public health. We will deploy public health practitioners in all villages to make sure they can take blood samples to check if you have malaria, if you have typhoid. They do prescription where you can buy your medication. At Independence, we will supply the medication. They will check your blood pressure to make sure you have a health certificate so you know how sick or well you are. That is what we can offer now. You can be rest assured of my every word. For you in the diaspora, we have put a tax of $100 every year for all Ambazonians in the Western Hemisphere, and $50 for all Ambazonians and friends of Ambazonians in the continent of Africa. We expect to mobilize resources to add to what we will mobilize on Ground Zero, to invest in the same triad issues which I have listed. Your tax from the diaspora is also your visa fee. Some of you have left out here and you've gone down. Surely you've landed in the airport of the enemy. You've driven on their dilapidated roads. You've paid ransom at airports every 5 kilometers. You've paid ransom to gun-wielding thugs. You've been harassed. You enter your own land. You walk on the same soil where Ebobe was buried. Somewhere in the neighborhoods, at the Ambazonian Defense Forces, at the Tabokwifons, at the Buffaloes of Bali, risking their lives on a daily basis to make sure that land looks like the land you've left from. That you don't need to land in an enemy airport. That you can leave an airport and drive as quickly as possible to your home without any kale, without any extortion. If you ever doubted why they fight so you can go home before you die in exile. They fight so you can feel free to hop in and hop out. That's why they fight and die. That's their story. Should be told by them, not the propaganda of the enemy. You can't consume the propaganda of the enemy. In the great countries in which we live, daredevils rose up, bled, went to jail, were killed, fought until they had freedom. The Norwegians didn't stop there. They could speak Danish. They worked very hard to establish the Norwegian language. They preserved their culture. It is now, with 4.5 million people, one of the richest countries in the world. We will make sure Norwegians feel ashamed to be Norwegians because of the beauty we will bring to our country, the security in terms of health, infrastructure, education, hope, and happiness. If you ever doubted why we fight, this is our own story. And for the people of Mesam who have sacrificed a lot, I want you to know the Ambazonian history will be written with you occupying the first chapter. The children who will be born 100 years from today will know the sacrifices you made, will know the price you paid, will know how you suffered, will read the names of all the warriors who have fallen and who have been scarred. We aren't stopping until that dream becomes a reality. And I know if you step up, if you commit, if you sacrifice, that dream is already here. God bless Ambazonia. God bless all of you in Mesam.
Ambazonia, special loyalty. Present to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who brought the lonely gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing rivers and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
Everywhere in the world, people are fighting for freedom.
Yes, Ambazonian people, una good afternoon, na good evening. Today, when at the 7th of March 2024, I want to tell the people of Muramo area and Momo in general that the only authority inside Momo is the Ambazonia Defense Forces. And the enemy them, they be chick say, when they go kill one mommy them, they kill our papa them, they kill our pikin them, they go win the war. But they never succeed. I want make them, me they understand, say, me they know, say, person way they don't kill them. They don't kill na a peacemaker. When a person way, he be ready for make peace, he be ready for negotiate, he be ready. Una don't kill a peacemaker. And I want tell una, the way he picking them, we are war makers. And we no go talk, we no go listen, and we go fight to the last man standing. We go fight to death. Even when we die for inside our country, we die as heroes. We no go die as betrayers. And at the send this message, I want warn the colonial Jew, the Dio of Batibo, never you ever pick your phone, call me again. And me, you know, say, then are inside war, gun by gun, trigger for trigger, bomb by bombs. True, when I leave Walan, Ambazonia, and me, all man, me know, say, when we pass order, everybody must follow. And when they pass order, you listen. We go arrest you. And we don't make up our mind there. Even at death or alive, Ambazonia must be free. They don't kill so many people. Burn houses, burn villages, carry plenty people there. Go for inside prison. And we never surrender. And we never stop for fight. And we no go stop for fight. And the colonial Jew, now a traitor, and all your commanders are traitors. And they will expose una one day for public square. They will expose una one day when sun it will shine. And I come again, I want attach the ghost town. The 1 month lockdown way will be put up. At here, as people they talk, I want make a moon and know say the 1 month goes down, it remain till the 1 month. There's nothing like Sundays and Saturday. It remain the 1 month goes down. And any man we even apply that route, make it be ready for where it gun proof. Any man we even use that route, me be ready for where it gun proof.
Ambazonia, special loyalty. Praise to our Savior who granted us the freedom. Allegiance to the hero who brought along the gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Ambazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty in our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
My fellow Ambazonians, good evening to everyone. Ambazonia is so rich that a child born today can live and die without going to work and still earn a salary for not working. That a child born today can live until they die, can go to hospital, never pay any bill, either for consultation or to buy medication. We are so rich that we will make Singapore and Kuwait combined look like countries of the antique era. That's how rich we are. And if you want to know why these brutes want to wipe everybody out and take over that land, it is because we are extremely rich. If you think this occupation is simply geopolitical and strategic, you're making a mistake. It is because of the riches of Ambazonia. There are two forms of Ambazonian riches: natural resources and the human resources. So if Cameroon was a pliant and deceptive occupying power, it could harness both. It could use the great ingenuity of the Ambazonian people to be able to exploit the natural resources of Ambazonia. But it's a brutal, blind, stupid occupier which thinks it can remove every Ambazonian from our land through hardship and outright violence to take it over. For the past 62 years, Ambazonian leaderships of every generation has attempted to appeal to the good consciences of Cameroon political leaders that it will be mutually beneficial if the coexistence is done through some form of political arrangement that economically benefits both countries. La République has taken that appeal as weakness. Until this generation rose up to challenge Cameroon in the way that they have used in the maintenance of the occupation. Since the creation of the Ambazonian Governing Council, we developed a counter-occupation strategy called economic sabotage. This was based on our understanding of the richness of Ambazonia, knowing fully well that most occupations are predicated on economic exploitation. And to undermine that occupation, we needed to make it more costly for the occupier than beneficial. And we have been largely successful, especially in the first 3 years of the resistance, in reducing the amount of money that Cameroon makes out of Ambazonia. That's why they've worked extremely hard using enablers, spoilers from within our struggle to regain some level of control of the economic potentials of our country. Don't forget, our assets also act like collateral in all of Cameroon's attempts to borrow money internationally, because international lenders are always mindful of how borrowers will be able to pay back their money. And once they make assessment, both political and economic, they come to the conclusion that Cameroon is in a state to exploit its resources and maybe has that kind of political stability to do so, to repay its debt. Almost 4 years ago, I set up the Ambazonian Governing Council, Economic Council. And I appointed a bright gentleman to head that council. And a few months ago, he had set up a resource committee to make an assessment of how rich Ambazonia is. And some of the preliminary results are mind-blowing in sectors you will least expect. Because when we talk about the riches of a country, we are focused on hydrocarbons, we are focused on natural gases, we are focused on gold, And we are focused on some of the things that have become resource curses across the globe. But the preliminary result of his investigation has been mind-blowing. And I would invite all of you to follow the discussion that will be taking place during this evening's conversation of how rich Ambazonia is. But this is what is interesting, and I have spoken about this many times. We are not only fighting for abstract freedom, as has been the case in the last 62 years of African nations' struggles to be free. We are fighting to take over the economic management of our country, how we deal with our resources, how we explore and exploit our resources, and for whose benefit. And as I have said repeatedly, we will make sure Ambazonians benefit from the resources that they have, that the areas within which these resources are situated have the highest benefit. No child born in the state of Ndian should be able to go to school in a dilapidated structure. No child born in there should not have the opportunity to dream, to become an engineer in the future and work in the oil and gas industries in their state. The byproduct of the exploitation of hydrocarbons should be able to transform Ambazonians' infrastructure. So you can basically get up in Victoria in the morning and you drive to Bamenda to work and drive back home in the evening. Because we have what it takes to build an economy and the supporting infrastructure to make that economy functional. My fellow people, we are fighting to change the lives of individual Ambazonians, to wrestle control of our economic potential from the hands of the enemy that has used those potential to buy weapons to commit genocide and other crimes against our people, to embezzle the money that is generated through these economic activities, and to keep us in not only in abject poverty, but in a situation where we cannot even speak about that poverty. We cannot bury our death in peace. That you die on the corridors of a hospital in one of the richest countries in the world.
We thank all our brave men and women where they don't hold this fight strong. We thank this generation for standing up for Ambazonia. We thank all the forces across the Ambazonian territory for their sacrifices, for their dedication, and for the commitment for the protection of our people them and for the liberation of our territory. The Ambazonia Governing Council, it invite all Ambazonian forces and all Ambazonian fighters, where because of one reason or the other, where because they no be get weapons, where because they no be get consistent supplies for even protect and for defend even themselves, and they no be get the means for being equipped, they no be get the kind leadership, the kind support where they need them for defend their communities, their blocks, and for chase the enemy out. Because of whatever reason, we make any fighter, any soldier, he believe the fight. The Ambazonia Governing Council, it invite all Ambazonian soldiers them. Where they don't be frustrated and come out the battlefield for say make the come back for the battlefield. The Ambazonia Governing Council, it invite all Ambazonian forces and soldiers where they don't move, whether not for G1, whether not inside, where they don't move to La Republique, or whether they don't move now even come out the fight. The AGovC, they invite you, make you come back. The Ambazonia Governing Council, it promise for equip every soldier and all the soldiers them where they come back for can join their brothers and sisters for finish this fight once and for all. The AGovC, through the liberation tax, it don't raise enough money for Ambazonian soldiers them where they come back for the battlefield. The Ambazonia Governing Council, it go provide the leadership, the consistent support where all these soldiers they return for the battlefield, they need them. The forces they remain for ground, where they not be go anywhere, when I don't see what they don't do. They don't send the occupier into a breaking point. We now they only hide in a farm car. When I can't join, make we permanently, once and for all, as a people, we end this evil. We Cameroon implant of our land. We end this blood. We don't spill them, they continue for spill them for our land. We end this terrorism and give our people them the dignity, the hope, and for all we forget for the work will be required for build the Ambazonia. We want them, we deserve them, and we need them. The national call of duty. When I can't join, we make we finish this fight. Man, I be Lucas Asu, when I the spokesman for Ambazonia Governing Council.
Welcome, ACN audience from all across the world. Today, in our program, How Rich is Ambazonia? We have Mr. Sapel Emmanuel, the chairman of the National Economic Council. Now, the Ambazonia Communication Network is watched by Ambazonians and even non-Ambazonians all across the globe. It is therefore fair to always provide some context to the Ambazonia Liberation War before we could start this program. So context. In violation of international law, namely Article 4B of the African Union Constitutive Act, an act that froze its boundaries as obtained at independence, Cameroon, in October 1961, marched an army of occupation and colonial administrators across international borders into Ambazonia, formerly British Southern Cameroon. And Cameroon has been in colonial occupation of Ambazonia to this day. Cameroon would gradually dismantle Ambazonia's economic and, with all emphasis, economic institutions to the extent of annihilating Ambazonia's world-class democratic structures as well as economic structures. But as prognosticated by a 1972 wire now declassified from the US Embassy in Yaoundé, to the White House, resentment would grow among the people of Ambazonia over time. And it seems to me that political prophecy has come to pass. Now, let's fast forward to October 1st, 2017. In what rights groups described as the biggest peaceful protest in recent history, the people of Ambazonia poured onto the streets in defiance of Cameroon's over half a century old military occupation of the territory of Ambazonia. 1 month later, that is on November 17, 2017, Africa's longest serving president, Cameroon's cold-hearted dictator Paul Biya, an octogenarian, now nonagenarian, declared war on Ambazonia, a war that continues to leave scars of horrible human rights violations, including, amongst other crimes, crimes of genocide, forced return of refugees, forced labor, extrajudicial killings, ethnic cleansing, enforced disappearances, arbitrary arrest, incommunicado detention, systematic torture, and even deaths in custody. As of today, my office keeps those records. As of today, June 23rd, 2023, records of the Ambazonia Governing Council show that there are over 500,000 Ambazonian refugees, asylum seekers, and asylees across all over the world: Cameroon, Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Ghana, Togo, South Africa, Brazil, Germany, the Scandinavia, Canada, the United States, France, Italy, China, the UK, and Spain. We are all over. Cameroon's occupation forces have burned 655 villages, killed over 17,000 civilians since October 2016, over 1,200,000 civilians forcibly displaced. Sad, isn't it? For a country as rich and blessed as Ambazonia, we have refugees perching in countries very far away from home. But to protect Ambazonia from being continuously milked by Cameroon and secure its complete freedom, the leader of the Ambazonia War of Liberation, Dr. Cho Ayaba, unveiled a carefully mapped out strategic game plan of what the AGovC terms the triad approach of liberation: self-defense, targeted diplomacy, and internationalization. Let us pause there for a little bit and reflect on why we are here today. We are here to discuss not only the economic, but the holistic potential of Ambazonia. Today in our discussion, we aim to shed light on the wealth that resides within the Ambazonian territory, our people, and the resources of Ambazonia. Our objective today is to present a comprehensive understanding of the economic prospects that lie ahead for this very vibrant and promising nation. Ambazonia is a country blessed with abundant human capital, natural resources, and an enterprising spirit. It holds immense promise for economic development. It is crucial for Ambazonians to recognize and appreciate the vast potential that resides within their homeland. By unlocking this potential, Ambazonia can pave the way for a sustainable growth, job creation, and enhanced living standards for all of our citizens. Throughout this discussion, we will delve into the various facets that make Ambazonia economically dynamic, from its rich and diverse natural resources to the ingenuity and resilience of its people. Ambazonia possesses the foundational pillars upon which a prosperous future can be built. Together, we will explore with my guest the current state of Ambazonia's economy, evaluate the sectors that drive its growth, identify the challenges that must be addressed, and envision the strategies that is required to harness the economic potential of this remarkable nation. As we embark on this discussion today, let us delve into the wealth of Ambazonia's economic potential, illuminating the path towards a prosperous and thriving future for Ambazonia. On this program, we have here with me at the studio the chairman of the Ambazonia National Council, Mr. Sapel Emmanuel from the great state of Lebialem. He is a banker by profession and currently resides in the United States. As the chairman of the National Economic Council, he provides economic policy and advice to the Ambazonian leader, fulfilling important roles such as coordinating the formulation of domestic and international economic policies, offering guidance on economic policies to the leadership, guaranteeing the alignment of policy decisions and programs with the leaders' economic objectives, and overseeing the implementation of the economic and political agenda of the Ambazonia Governing Council. Mr. Sapel's office also collaborates with various AGovC departments, such as mine, to effectively coordinate and execute the policy goals of the Ambazonian leadership. It would be interesting for you to also learn that he is the chair of the governors of the Ambazonia Treasury. This is the institution that brought us the Amber coin. His office is currently positioning the Amber coin as the future currency of the state of Ambazonia. Mr. Sapel Emmanuel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Comrade HHS. I am very pleased and happy to be here. I would like to, first of all, thank the President of the Ambazonian Governing Council to have bestowed this responsibility upon me and the team that I work with. I would also like to thank you for accepting to join us to have this conversation, this presentation for us to be able to examine the potential that Ambazonia does possess. And I would also like to thank all of those that are joining us today to participate in one way or the other in this conversation. We would begin by something that is very little known to a lot of us. The fact that sometimes when you have something that you possess that is of value, someone else tries to make that thing looks less valuable. This is the case sometimes growing up where...
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to be coming back to you.
Thank you.
That was the introduction. That was the introduction of the chairman of the National Economic Council of Ambazonia. Here with my name, a good number of you know me already. I'm Akosin Raymond, the AGovC Secretary for Human Rights and Humanitarian Services. I moved to the United States as a refugee, and my background is in cybersecurity. I'm a cybersecurity subject matter expert and a lead cybersecurity vulnerability management engineer. And without publicity, I am the CEO of a startup, America Cyber Squad ACS, a cybersecurity solutions company. So yeah, let's go back to you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I brought you here for us to discuss and x-ray the economic potentials of Ambazonia. The first question I wanted to ask you is, if you look at Malaysia, there are rumors that in the past Malaysia came into Ambazonia, got a kernel of palm, went to Malaysia. Today it is the biggest supply of palm oil in the world. Have you heard that rumor, and is it true?
Comrade HHS, you are very correct. Like I was about to say, and to add to that, sometimes when you have something of value that someone else is not trying to make you put additional currency to that item of value that you do have, then they start to paint that item as if it was valueless. That is what has been done to Ambazonia. That is what has been done to the kernel that you were talking about. I remember growing up, the kernel was known as, the palm oil itself was being recognized as having a lot of medical disadvantages just to discourage its growth. But countries have long recognized what its economic potential, economic value was. So as a result of that, you had countries like Indonesia, you had countries like Malaysia that had come into Ambazonia, did their research, took the kernel to their country, and today Malaysia combined with Indonesia together export over 86% of the world's palm oil. And so we believe that Ambazonia, with a little bit more effort, could get to that state where they could be able to be productive and equally put out there that kind of value. I wanted to also call on our studio to present to us call on them to present to us a video one which depicts what Malaysia and Indonesia have been able to accomplish.
Global companies have set their sights on West and Central Africa, the home of palm oil, to grow the crop at a huge scale, where available land, adequate climate, and political will are providing them with fertile land to invest and grow.
It's easy to see why. Palm oil is used in around half of all products on supermarket shelves, and the global palm oil industry is worth about $43 billion, with the lion's share currently